We're out at Ange Anderson's place. She's an amazing lady and we've got a great story to tell you today.
Okay, I'm Ange Anderson from Roaring Beach Wildlife Rescue. This is one of the birds that has recently come into care here. It's a tawny frogmouth, which unfortunately has been hit by a car and is recovering from some concussion and unfortunately a little bit of damage to its eyes. But it is improving, so we're hoping that we might be able to release it back to the wild. Get it up all the way down and then So we've just crept into the bird of prey enclosure, and what we're going to do today is catch this peregrine falcon. It's going to go into another aviary so that we can put the wedge-tailed eagle in here, and as you can see at the end we've got the release hatch, and hopefully over the next couple of days we can let her go. A female peregrine falcon, and as you can see she's looking a bit tatty at the moment. She's actually between molts, so she's got some of her juvenile and some of her adult feathers, going from brown to this beautiful slaty grey. Again, unfortunately she's been hit by a car.
And handling birds like this, Ange, you've obviously got a lot of practice at it. I take it it's not for the beginner to approach a bird on the ground.
No. A bird like this, obviously we do have the dangerous bits, the talons, which are incredibly powerful, and a sharp beak. So it's always good to get advice of an expert if you see a bird like this on the ground. So very shortly we're going to catch this wedge-tail and put her back into the release aviary. She's been with me here for about 7 or 8 months after having a fight with another eagle over territory at the beginning of last breeding season. She has some pretty horrendous wounds. If you've seen the size of wedge-tail's talons, they're quite amazing weapons, and unfortunately she had injuries to her wing and into her chest and into her abdomen, which took a long time to heal. But also we've had to wait for a few months before we can release her, because we want to release her at a time of the year when the other birds aren't as aggressive, and that's now. So we're really looking forward to seeing her flying away.
Wow. She is huge. A good capture, Ange?
James just did a nice rugby tackle.
It's like, here she comes.
So obviously we can see these huge big talons here. This is a female, so they are pretty big. Compare it to the size of my hand, you know, they're not much smaller. That big hooked sharp beak as well, ripping apart the prey. She's quite a dark bird, so she is a little bit older, but it is quite hard to tell exactly how old they are. Of course, in the wild they can live for over 40 years. So this is a tube that we use just to transport the birds so that they can't damage their feathers. Keeps them nice and calm. It's pretty big.
With a squeeze.
Squeeze. What's going to happen now, Ange?
Okay, so what we're going to do from here is just let her settle into this pen for a couple of days. She has actually lived in this pen for quite some months beforehand, and at the end we've got a massive big release hatch. So what we'll do is just open it up, and then in her own time she can fly back into the wild.
I remember this place, she says.
So I've been a wildlife carer for nearly 20 years now, after actually doing some training in the United States. And since moving to Tasmania 16 years ago, I've been very passionate about the native wildlife, and in particular the impact that humans have on it. And so I'm really passionate about trying to help these animals and get them back to the wild.
Why Wedgie Why with me, James Pay. Are some animals more worthy of rescuing than others?